butterfly. Okay. All right. So what else? How are we doing on time actually? Hold on. What time is it? Okay, still okay. All right, you guys can still see my slides, right? Rahul, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can see the slides.
Excellent. Okay, so this is about plan. Now, so this is my class, guys. This is the first batch of Jaipuria students, 1992 December. All right. So this is a rare picture. This is my class 8 of 1992-93. We had 4 class teachers. Actually, we had the best personalized attention that I could ever imagine. Circumstances and the new school, whatever. This is exactly the size of our class. Can you imagine one section, these many kids, class 8, okay? 4 teachers really giving us all the attention. All right, that was great times. So this is my batch. Now, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? So here's all my friends. Yeah, we have all sorts of achievers, careers, path takers here in my group. So we have a top lawyer in the police department. We have an army officer, colonel. This guy is a top distinguished engineer in Apple. This guy is a senior naval officer, investment banker, ex-consultant. This guy is the next unicorn founder. You'll be hearing about his startup very soon. Air Force officer, doctor, social entrepreneur, school founder. She runs a school. Lucknow's top CA. I think you know who I'm talking about, Rahul. Uh, Consultant, international consultant, teacher, NGO leader, right? So this is what they became when they grew up. Okay, so these are the guys. So the question is, everyone must be asking you, right? What do you want to be when you grow up? So I'm happy to report that when I grew up, that's me. I remain me. Okay, so that's the point. When you grow up, if someone asks you what you want to become, you should say, why should I become something? Me is me, right? I am me. So I may look different now from what you see in this picture. I was actually not the tallest guy in the class, but I am very tall now. But I am me, right? And you see all these job titles for these guys. Many of them are actually in the second jobs. Like this guy gave up consulting. Now he's in the startup. Someone has retired early, running a school. Someone, it's the time for when you are in your late 30s and early 40s. It's time to do something else, and I'll show you later. So I am me, but I see all these guys as my lifelong friends. They remain the same to me also, right? They may have become all this, but when we actually get together and when we have talk to each other in our friends group, these are my lifelong friends, right? So don't be too worried about, oh, what will I become when you grow up? You'll remain yourself, right? No big deal about that. Okay, then, so what do I want to do when I grow up, right? Again, a question. So this is my life, all right? So I ticked all the boxes. So yeah, when I was in my teens, I got good marks. Okay. Then I did a lot of ECAs and leadership stuff, so I had a really nice resume. So then I managed to get this scholarship, right, which is given to about 24 people in India. You get into a good university, right? And hey, you must study computer science. I mean, back then, this is what Rahul was saying. Don't have to do what people want you to do. You should always know, is this really something I want? And I'm telling you, I was really convinced I wanted to study computer science back in school because that was the elite subject. Out of a class of 40, 50, only 7 kids were allowed to study computer science. You had to be the top in your school to actually study computer science because there were limited computing resources. Okay. So because it was so hard to get, I thought that is the best thing to get, right? So of course, nothing wrong with computer science. I also studied that. I'm just saying, just because this is the top choice because of market forces, demand supply, doesn't mean that is the thing that you must do. Okay. So just be careful about that. Get into a good university, get a good job in an MNC, make money, travel the world, buy all the things you wanted, check. Okay. So then I was in my 20s, late 20s, early 30s. Yeah, got married, bought a house, bought a car, then another car, and have kid, and another kid, another house. Okay, that cycle continues, right? Okay, progress to a senior corporate role. Great. Happily ever after? Question mark. That's the point. Okay, I'm not saying I'm not happy. I'm very happy, no regrets, but that's okay. Now I have, ticked off all the things which I actually used to dream about when I was your age. I've got to do all this. Now, at the age that I am, I'm thinking, what next? Happily ever after, or what? Right? None of the stories, right? Any fairy tale only talks about when the prince and princess got married or whatever. Like, no, nothing goes beyond like what happened in the life. So think about that. And that's why, I mean, don't have to burden yourself, but that's the idea. You need to think about what would you really want when you are in this position. Okay. Yes, as you age downwards, you have money. Okay. But you really don't have time. I must tell you, okay. I was working till 3 a.m. last night. Then I realized, oh, I need to make this presentation. Really, I had to do it late night because really there is no time. Okay. There is no time. Uh, Health, it really depends on you. All right. So am I in the best of health and fit? Maybe no, I think I can do better because I'm just spending all the time working, getting things done, making money for the company, for the economy, and a little bit for myself. But please watch out for that. And the most important, as Rahul also said, friends. When you're no longer here, no one's going to care about how much money you had or whatever. How many people will talk about you, right? So health, friends. So as you grow old, you get these things and you get less of these things. The other things are question marks. It's up to you, right? So last thing, guys. So if you want, if I could just tell you a few snippets of um, based on the distillation of my experience, you are the best example of you, okay? And you are okay. Absolutely. When you're a teenager, you will really be thinking, I could be this, I could be that, I need to be like that. No, you are the best example of you, right? And because you're the best example of you, you're okay. And it is okay if you don't have a plan. Remember, I showed plan. It's not about the plan, okay? Because the plans change by circumstances or by you. I really wanted to study computer science because that was the best thing. Because if I get it, everybody will go like, oh, wow, Abhinav is really smart. Okay, I got it. After studying 6 years of computer science and working 1 year in IT consulting, I realized, oh my God, this is not for me. That came very late, right? But okay, I'm like, okay, good. I've had fun doing this. Now let me do something else. And then I kind of changed careers. And a lot of people will do that. So don't have to worry about, okay, I'm in this, oh my God, I'm going to be stuck here. Or I really want to be this and really want to be this. It's never like that. Circumstances will change. Your plans will change. That's fine. Let them flow. Main thing is to live in the moment and do what you're doing right now well. I think that is the most important thing. So if right now you're in school and you're taking X and Y subjects, okay, you may not like it, but just do them well. Okay. So that's the point. If you keep doing what you're doing right now well, everything else will follow. You always have time to change your plans. Okay. You always have time to do something else. And don't define your purpose in life by a checklist of must-haves and must-dos. As Rahul also said, why are the billionaires always working, all the time? Some of them are really working for a purpose, but there's really some of them who just want to be richer. It's true. Okay, there is no end. Okay, so don't define the time by list of must have, must do. And please make the most of your time in school. This is the best time, I can tell you, at least from my experience. Learn to learn. Okay, it's not about how well you can study math or commerce. Learn to learn, but unlearn and learn again. This is the most important. In life, what you study in school will run you for the next few years, but after that you have to learn again, and then you have to unlearn things and learn again. Okay, and don't worry, guys. You guys are just 16, 17. There's always time, especially at your age. Never think you're out of time. Never think you're out of options. Don't feel despair. All right. You have the time. Okay. So with that, I will give it back. And I hope that was useful.
Abhinav, I will just add some things to what you said, if I have your permission.
Yes, please.
So there are three takeaways for me from your talk. Number one, importance of planning, and I will summarize that as, we say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? And that's so true. Always have a plan. Life is actually what happens when you're busy planning. But that aside, have a plan so that you know
Yeah.
the direction in which you're headed. The other thing you talked about is there are billionaires who work for money. And the top three I know are Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates. Talk to them, and they will tell you that they would rather have a little bit less and wish they had a better married life or better relationship. Each of those three is divorced, right? So sometimes, and when you are divorced, actually 50% of the wealth goes away anyways. So that's the irony. They were working so hard for something which is not even there with them. So they lost the relationship, they lost half the money as well. Lastly, you talked about learn and unlearn. I think that is the most important thing, because you see, Abhinav, when you were in school or when I was in school, we had 9 planets, and then we had to unlearn that, and now we know there are 8 planets. So that is the beauty of life, right? You have to unlearn what you have learned in the light of new information that you get in life, and that is what life is all about. Learn, unlearn, relearn. So I'll pause here now. Now, Anuj, maybe Ikshita and Chavi, you could do a brief intro for Anuj.
Yes, ma'am. First of all, I would like to thank Avinash sir. That was very indeed informative and rational. Thank you so much, sir, for lending us your valuable time and guiding us through this.
Oh, wait.
Isn't this over yet?
No, to put the last jewel in the crown, we would now like to greet our third alumni, Mr. Anuj Jain. He was born in Udaipur and did his schooling from Jaipuria School, Kanpur. He is passionate about creating ecologically responsible, nature-inspired design for built environment that are good for people, biodiversity and ecosystem services. He received a 100% scholarship to study electrical engineering at Nanyang Technological University, Singapore, and then took a 180-degree turn to do PhD in biology. He is Southeast Asia's first trained biomimicry professional and also founded the Biomimicry Singapore Network, which is part of Biomimicry Institute's global network. He is a National Geographic Explorer, recipient of John Mosenthal Dewind Award for Butterfly Conservation by Zir Society, USA, and Cities of Love Environmental Sustainability Award, Singapore. It's a proud privilege to have you here with us, sir.
Hey, thanks a lot. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Can you hear me all right?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, first of all, I must thank everyone for having me here. I think I've only been to the Lucknow Jaipuria campus once, and I was very happy. I will share my experiences from the twin city of Kanpur. And I must also thank Rahul for actually giving me the opportunity to share. So my sharing is through some photographs. I think Abhinav has really done a great job to sort of talk about some of the deeper lessons, growing up, what your friends have become. And that photo, Abhinav, has really inspired me to go back and look at what my friends have become. I will definitely do that and maybe share the next sharing. But for now, I just want to bring you through a photo journey. Sorry, you will see my face on several photos. I can't help it because these are my photos. But perhaps growing up, you guys will be familiar with events like this. So I spent all my school days in AR Jaipuria from 1990 to 2002. And during those moments, NCC was one of my favorite things. Growing up, I really liked, the Indian Army, and when I was selected to sort of be part of NCC, I put my heart in it, and here is one of the photos. Right? I distinctly remember my principal, Sardin Singh, for most part, my school days. He was an inspiration. And then, one of the other memorable events that happened every year in school was, when you come first or second in class, you're given a book prize. And, I have several photos from that, which I'd like to share. And so these are sort of, when I look through the photo album of my school, right? But what kind of really defined me, were some other things. My mom, who helped me connect with nature. And, I can't say that for Lucknow, but Kanpur was a very industrial city. And I grew up in the heart of the city, surrounded by buildings. We only had like Phool Bagh and Company Bagh, which was sort of close to my house. And they were all kind of just regular parks where people go to exercise and gardens. And, you in my intro, you hear about nature and wildlife and all that, but I didn't grow up with any of that. Neither did anybody in my family took me to national parks. We kind of just saw what was on the streets. Right? But my mom brought me, when we went on vacations, we kind of spent quiet time. Here I am staring at a beach in southern India by the coastline, and sort of just taking in fresh air. Right? Really inspired by the Gulmohar trees in my school. I spent many hours during the lunch break. I used to go to school sometimes early, after school, sort of just walking around. And that really made me happy. Jaipuria Kanpur also had this scheme called the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme. And that helped us sort of be physically fit, and go on expeditions, which was such a blessing, because suddenly I had an excuse to go on an expedition, not tell my parents, why am I not studying? We went to Vindhyachal, we went to other places, and it was sort of this checklist that you had to build your personality around. And that helped me explore a little bit of outdoors. And then sports, right? I think both Jaipur and Kanpur are, both Lucknow and Kanpur, Jaipuria schools are very good in sports. And we had the opportunity to play cricket, football, hockey, and all that. And not to just say I like cricket, but I really used to play it, like quite seriously. And, that went through my childhood. So all those things, I guess, just being outdoors and sort of connecting with nature was really the formative days. But when I came to university, right, I must add that my dad is a chemical engineer, and he used to teach computers. Right, this was his 20s and 30s, right, when computers were just coming to India, and I was surrounded by them when I was growing up. And so he was kind of he convinced me to say, okay, engineering is the best thing to do, and so I did. And so just like Abhinav and Rahul, I got a full scholarship to study in Singapore. I went to Nanyang Technological University, electronics engineering, did very well, and I specialized in designing circuits. So you may have seen ads like Intel Inside, right? And I was doing that. Okay. But sort of when I was in that process, I was good at it, but through my mind, but not through my heart. I was like, yes, I'm designing these circuits, but I really want to be outdoors. And the NTU's green campus really helped, because, as you can tell in the photo, and others who've been there, it's a lot of green. And so I used to just go out on walks and sort of attend events by green groups on campus, which sort of opened my mind. Okay, this kind of life is possible, where you're surrounded by greenery, and people were sort of doing little things, trying to understand nature. And then in my third year of university, I went to the US for an exchange program. This is where University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and this is where I sort of picked up astronomy. UIUC, in short, had a very famous observatory. And yes, we could look at a lot of stars and had real fun. I took courses, and it was sort of rekindling my old love, sort of star watching. And once I was at my close to graduation, it was sort of still searching, right? Because I'm training myself to be an electronics engineer, but my heart is on the greens and kind of space. Yeah. So definitely not in circuits. So I was looking, and I stumbled upon through my flatmate about spirituality. So art of living, some of you may have heard about it. So I got into the practice and I started sort of going inward and just understanding. That is also when I stumbled upon biomimicry. Some of you may not know or understand this term. It's just about break it down, bio and mimicry, right? Mimicking biology. And essentially it's looking at nature for better design. If you look at a leaf, we know leaves make food for the plant, and we are all trying to make food for through electricity. Yeah? So solar panels make food from sun. Why can't solar panels become like leaves? That is biomimicry. And so once I sort of understood biomimicry and spirituality, I was trying to connect the dots. Okay, engineering, observatory, what do I do? Turns out I was also interested in space research. And so I went to NTU Space Research Center. And through that, I eventually had a stint at ISRO in Bangalore. And very happy at that time, we were working on the Chandrayaan-1 space mission. And I didn't follow up, but perhaps some of the communication circuits we designed ended up being on that space mission. So that was all very cool. But then after that stint, I was questioning. I designed an electronics communication circuit looking at radio frequencies. But it was still very boxy. I designed a circuit. I wanted to be outdoors. And so it was this sort of shell that I had to come out of to say, okay, it was not just space missions I was interested in, it was about going outdoors. And that is when I started soul searching. And I want to return to what Abhinav said. At that time, I had a lot of fights with my, not literal fights, but arguments with my dad, especially. This was also the time when I was trying to switch my careers, right? And my dad was like, wildlife ka bhoot hai tumhare upar, ye chala jayega, and then you don't waste your career. Three Idiots, right? And we had Three Idiots in our house for a number of years, okay? But I was persistent. I was like, I need to try this. This is where my heart is. So I spent time meditating outdoors, and that is when I realized I wanted to be free like a bird, figuratively. I wanted to be outdoors in nature reserves, nature parks, saving wildlife, spending time with them. And so that's what I did. Next few, of course, it was not easy because I wasn't trained in biology. During my 11th, 12th in school, I took computer science. Same as Abhinav. For me, it was not just being among the selected few who could get it, but my dad used to teach computers, and I picked up all those things early on. It was natural. But the important part is no background in biology, 11, 12. So I had to pick everything from scratch. But so I did, worked hard, did volunteering work, learned from a lot of mentors, and they were very, very happy to share. And so fast forward, these were the formative days. And I hate to sort of show my photos, but I have to tell a story. So, spend a lot of time running around jungles, catching butterflies, because my PhD was in butterflies. And sometimes people joke, can you actually do a PhD in butterflies, or are you just fooling around? No, you can. And so I became an entomologist. And I continued to run and ran a lot of marathons and Ironmans and stuff like that, being outdoorsy, and then became a nature explorer. But funny enough, a local newspaper sort of covered my story, and it was about how from a land that is the land of India that is so large, wild, with tigers and elephants, because I was living in a city, not sort of with people that cared about nature. I went to a smaller city, Singapore, right? And from sitting in India, you might say, hey, Singapore is for shopping, but actually Singapore is very green, right? And it's the company of people, not having a full plan, but sort of just taking baby steps and saying, okay, I want to really immerse myself and sort of learn from them. And it is this so-called shopping city that helped me become green. And I can tell you a bigger story. These are some of the organizations I've worked with. And then as my career continues to progress in ecology, I came back to biomimicry, right? I don't have time to share a whole lot, but after my PhD, I came back to it to say, okay, I need to close the loop because I just felt so inspired, connect biology and design. And so I set up the Biomimicry Network. I have a company that actually consults in biomimicry. And coming back to flight, I actually do workshops on how can you look at nature's flight, be it birds, bats, insects, and using them, how can you design better flights? Because obviously animals can fly very long distances with very little fuel. And if we were to design our flights like them, we would be a lot more efficient. Yeah. So I guess this is my last slide, but just closing it to say, growing up, I didn't have a plan. Just like Abhinav said, I was doing what I had been assigned to do in my myopic view. So excelled at school, got good grades, but just kept following my heart. A lot of times people questioned, why are you doing this? You need to do this, just do this as a volunteer. But I said, no, if I'm this is my life, I need to choose what I'm doing. I am not going to spend 5 days a week doing something I don't like. And then eventually money followed. I kept working, and purposely tried to do things that I'm passionate about, but where there are fewer people. And that's, I guess, another lesson. You got to create your own niche. And in fields where there are less people, you become better known very quickly. And that's not a bad thing. It's a win-win. You are good at something and there's less competition. Why not pursue it? And so I guess that's where I am. I continue to do things which I like. And yeah, there's no stopping back. With that, I'll pass it back to the hosts.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for allaying our fears with regards to our career choices and passions and giving us good insights and sparing your effete presence. We're really grateful.
Pleasure.
I would like to invite Promini ma'am to address this counseling session. Just a few words.
I'd rather speak less, children, except pay my gratitude, heartfelt gratitude to Anuj, Abhinav, and to Rahul. And Rahul, thank you so much. You've been doing so much for this school. They've given you so many thoughts to absorb, to reflect upon, that I think you can spend the weekend doing that and finally decide whether you wish to make a plan or you don't want to have a plan, because both the options have been offered to you. It's basically, I really like when Abhinav said that you have to be you. And children, that's really very essential for your confidence. For you to take any decision, it is essential that right from now, you become you. Have one personality rather than being driven in different directions, because you can make the best out of any career that you choose, provided it belongs to you and you belong to it. So thank you so much once again, Rahul, Abhinav, and Anuj, for being there and for such an insightful session. It was really engrossing. Children, what do you say about that? I did not see any of you budging from your places, actually. So it's hard at this age otherwise. Thank you.
What I would add is that a lot of students may have questions after the such stimulating session by Abhinav, Anuj, We probably will come back to you if you want to have another session just for your questions. So that option is always open. And as ma'am said, think over this on the weekend and write down your questions, and we'll take it at some point in future.
Is there anyone who wishes to ask a question just now?
Ma'am,
Boys,
there
girls? Huh.
questions we have with us from some students. This question isn't like for some particular person, but it's like that how to pursue computer science in Singapore, and CAT score required, is CAT score required or not, and also what is the minimum board percentage and scholarships.
Okay, this is a very specific question. Anuj, Abhinav, what do you think? We should take it, or we should like do a specific engineering session on this?
Well,
Study
can
in
I?
Singapore session.
Maybe I will, yeah. Maybe we can do that next time. I really have to take your leave, kids, my colleagues, and principal ma'am, if you permit, please. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Abhinav. This much time itself is enough, and we can understand the time crunch. So thanks a lot. Children, now what we can do is you write down your questions and we pass on the questions. And
Yeah.
then
I think Anuj, Anuj was able to answer, so please carry on. But I will take your kind leave. Sorry about that, but happy to come back. Definitely.
thank you so much. Thank you. So Anuj, in case you wish to answer that.
Well, yeah. The honest answer is we don't know. Nobody tells us, right? I'm responding to what is the minimum percentage that you need to get, because again, this comes back to don't worry, right? The percentage is really high. I can say it's 98%, it's 95%, 98, it's plus 95%, that is say, right? But then so what, right? It keeps changing and nobody knows. It depends on who's applying, and therefore the bets are on not you, but who are your peers applying in that cohort, and you can't judge that. So just do what best you can.
Thank you, sir. So there is one more question. What is the criteria?
Hold on. I'll answer that as well. So so the thing is that Anuj is absolutely right. The percentage is high, but it is relative to whoever else has applied. It's a bit like Delhi University, you apply, right? But there is a twist here. In Delhi University, it's all about your percentage. In NUS and NTU, it's not just about your percentage, it's about who you are. So they will look at you holistically. So you could have 90%, but if you have a medal for the country in swimming, you could get in. So it is a lot more dynamic than just looking at your percentage. And depending on the year, they may have an entrance exam, they may not have an entrance exam. So all that is dynamic. What we can do is, after this session, I can send you the link for admissions for computer engineering to NUS and NTU as for undergrad, and then you can read more about it there. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, one more question for Anuj sir. That what is the criteria to enter into biomimicry thing?
Career.
The criteria at your age is just having a curious mind, and questioning everything you see in nature around you. That's it. If you're seeing the gulmohar tree, why does it turn red? If it has, if the flower has 5 petals, why does it have 5 petals? And everything nature does is for a reason. It's beautiful, but there is a deeper reason behind it. And if you start to question that, you would be surprised that you can learn geometry and maths and physics and chemistry from nature. Leaves angle themselves such that they don't shade themselves. They are optimizing leaf arrangements, and therefore they follow golden ratios, they follow Fibonacci series, and it's all math. So just indulge yourself in nature, and eventually you will figure out what do you want to do with that, and come up with some mind-boggling designs that will make you a happy and a famous person.
Thank you, sir. So the last question is for Rahul, sir. That should I consider MBA directly after class 12 through IP MAT exam?
Through which exam?
IP MAT.
Okay, so you can do MBA directly after 12th. This is a news to me.
This was a question from a student.
Can you repeat the question?
Says that should I consider MBA directly after class 12th through IP MAT exam?
You cannot do MBA directly after class 12th. You need to have a bachelor's. I think what the question is probably asking is integrated MBA program, which some of the IIMs run. So if you have a passion for business, if you have a passion for running organizations, those 5-year integrated plans courses which these some of the IIMs run, they are great. The advantage is that you have 5 years to learn what we learn as MBAs in just 2 years, and you would be living, dreaming, thinking business for 5 years. So definitely a very good course. And also I think you at some point you will join the same MBA program which other people join through the CAT, right? So you already have that headway. So I would think it is a good option, but at the same time, remember, everybody else can graduate in 3 or 4 years, but you only graduate with a degree or with a couple of degrees in 5 years. So that's the drawback. But if you are passionate about business, then why not? Go ahead and do that. Whose question is that? Does that answer that satisfactorily?
So there was some student from class.
Okay. So you will get a dual degree at the end of it. You will get one, I think, BBA and an MBA, because you cannot do an MBA right after BBA. Another thing I want to add there, this idea of doing MBA right after even your bachelor's is a very desi concept. The rest of the world doesn't do it like that. The rest of the world, people do MBA after they have had 3 or 4 or 5 years of work experience, which is, in my opinion, the right way to do it. But again, the dynamics in India is different. So you could do MBA right after your graduation, or you could also go for those integrated MBA programs as well. That's totally fine, because the market in India is geared towards that. The kind of jobs that you get after MBA in India are entry-level jobs, as opposed to the rest of the world where they're slightly mid-management level.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hey,
Thank you, sir.
Can I just add something? Not about MBAs. I don't have an MBA. But I just want to say, at least when I was growing up, perhaps that is still the case. You know, I should say even my cousins who are younger and are your age students now, 10th, 11th, 12th, you know, the career options they generally think about are finance, chartered accountancy, IT, engineering, doctors, you know. I can count them in my fingers, right? But just, again, I can't prescribe you a career, but go back and think, you know, there are so many more things you could do. You could become a geographer, you could become XYZ that can also help you earn money. Okay, I know parents emphasize on the fact that, oh, if you become a poet, how will you earn money? You know, if you become an artist, how you become money, how will you earn money? But there are many other programs where there is a serious crunch in India about talent. You know, we don't have enough good geographers. We don't have enough good conservationists, biologists, biomimics, blah, 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 right? And if you become one, you will be a handful of trained people. Why do you want to compete with 100 or 500,000 IT engineers who are all very good? You know, compete with 100 geographers instead. And I guess that could be another way to consider this.
One question, though, Chavi and Ikshita, to you is, I had given that exercise about finding your Ikigai. Have you guys done it? Yes, so you would see that the questions that you're asking are very tactical, as in they're coming from a set mindset that, okay, I want to be this, and how do I get there? The question should be rather reverse. It should be first finding out what am I good at, what do I really want to do, and then looking at what is the wide possibility out there. Whereas when you block yourself that I want to be an engineer, I want to do, asking something like what is the criteria for computer science in NUS is a very specific question. Which is fine. I mean, once you know what you want to be, you need to have a roadmap to get there. But more importantly, answering why I want to be a computer engineer is much more important. What gift do you want to give to mankind with your computer engineering skills? That is, I mean, Anuj and I both are electrical engineers. In fact, I met him when he just came back from UIUC exchange in the campus bus. And I was fascinated. Oh, wow, you went to UIUC. How do you get there? That was one of my first questions to him. Now, fast forward so many years later, neither of us is in, maybe he is, but at least I'm not using any of my engineering, and the amount of engineering that I learned and what I remember of it, I could put on the back of a stamp. That's what I probably remember. So more importantly, but nothing discounts from the fact that I went to a top university where I met great people like Anuj and many others, right? So again, universities and education is more than your grades, more than your classes. It's about the entire experience. So where I'm getting with this is, and I know it sounds a bit of a gyan, but it is a bit of a gyan. First, try to cast your nets as wide as possible. Try to figure out what you want to do, and then narrow down into how am I going to achieve this, right? So that's the message I want to leave you with. I know the session was planned for 90 minutes, and we are already well past that. So if time permits, I could run through that Ikigai exercise with one of you. Anybody who wants to volunteer, but if time doesn't permit, then we can pick it up on another day.
We could do it on another day.
Yeah.
Right? They have another event for which they have to plan. So we could do this on another day when we meet and when their questions have to be answered. So we'll take their questions and we'll get back to you, because we have to do that award thing also, Rahul.
Yeah.
So we need to plan for that. So we'll club all of them and then we'll get back.
That would be lovely, ma'am. And we can get more experts to answer that session. It'll be more like a panel discussion over there, right? Where straight away we'll go into the question mode.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, children, for asking for it. They asked for it, so they got it.
Excellent.
Thank you, ma'am, for letting us conduct this such a great session. And thank you, sir, for sparing your gracious time with us through your busy schedule. And this will surely encourage us in our future endeavors. And your thoughts have enlightened our minds and have shown us a new path. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ikshita. Thank you, Chabi. And thank you all the students who participated, everybody who has been patiently hearing. Just one message, pick the book. It will help you figure out what you want to do. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.